everybody. Welcome to Saturday morning live stream. Looks like we got a bunch of the same people I see every week, so it's good to see everybody. I think we got a couple new guys. So anybody that's new in the stream, welcome. Today we have a very special guest. If you're not familiar with his products, we're going to go over some of them today. It looks like Desert Reef Aquatics has made it to our stream, so mods just take care of him. Yeah, we're gonna talk about some cool stuff that Harry makes. I have a couple of his products already, and I'm also beta testing one of his products, which I really love, which we're gonna talk about too. Um, yeah, so without further ado, we're gonna bring Harry in. Let me bring him in. What's going on, Harry? Oh yeah, see you just fine, man.
Okay, perfect.
So
So my
explain. I asked you earlier, but where are you? And explain how you got this all started.
so I am a senior student at FIU, and currently I'm living at home due to COVID and everything. But that's also kind of nice because I can run my whole aquarium business with the 3D printed accessories and toggle boxes and different small electronics for primarily Apex. That's why I'm
Right.
always active in that group. Mhm.
And you have a fish tank next to you, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Or
I had to turn off
aquarium.
the light.
Sorry.
I had to turn off the lights because my the Radeons were messing with the webcam. But this is actually a really cool system where the center disc that holds 200 corals, it's rotating.
That's really
It's
cool.
kind of it's rotating slowly. It does like 4 revolutions per day, but it's a full sized, and it's just experimental to see how the acropora react. But I don't know. Can you see the disc at all?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Well, good news, guys.
Man, I
We
should get
already
a
got we
tripod.
already got 25 people in the giveaway. So, oh, I forgot to mention. Today we're going to be giving away one of your toggle boxes. And I
Oh yeah.
believe, if I'm not mistaken, Harry's going to custom make it for you. So whoever wins is going to get a custom made toggle box. So pretty good prize if you ask me. I had to make me a custom one because I didn't want the momentary buttons for my big tank, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Um,
Yeah, you got like one of those with a lot of toggles on it. That's a
so
cool one.
Jake has a quick question here, which we're going to go over this. You currently only have two sounds on your newer box that isn't available yet. It's just
Hmm.
two sounds, right?
Right now, yes,
Okay.
but based on feedback from the initial, I think there's 10 people with the beta units. I'm actually adding up to 10 sounds
Oh,
on
cool.
the second channel input. Although they're going to be pretty similar because the buzzer I have can only produce a very small range in tone in
Okay.
frequency. But different patterns and of beeps versus the occasional chirp, just like the Apex display does.
Awesome.
So
So
yeah, and that can be attached to any color.
so for those that didn't see my video, I recommend you watch it. I did a video on it. And currently the one that I have, which Harry has mentioned is going to be upgraded to the newer version, it's one 0 to 10 volt plug on the Apex. And all it does is, I think, 10, is it correct? 10 different
Hmm.
things. And each one is a different um, color. And then a couple of them at the end have a color and a sound. So what he's done now is he's split that into a V1, V2. So V1's going to be your colors and V2 is going to be your sounds. So you'll be able to program them separately, which is really cool. Uh,
Yeah,
someone
yeah, that's exactly right.
someone wants it to beep like R2D2. That's what they're requesting.
I'm sure there's somebody that has made that pattern already. Because I'm just a lot of it's utilizing other people's, patterns and stuff. So I could definitely look into that as long as the tone is kind of stable, but we'll see.
Interesting question. Someone asked, can a toggle box work without an apex? I don't know where you would use it without an apex, but maybe you can explain.
I think he means like, can you connect a return pump to a toggle box or something? And the answer would be no. This only plugs into the Apex I/O port because that's already set up to receive the open or close signals from the toggle box, and then it responds by turning on or off the Apex outlet. But the box itself cannot control any outlet or nothing like that.
Okay. Someone asked, can you customize the breakout box with little or more toggle? So I believe that the answer is yes. That's what we were talking about earlier. You're going to kind of make a custom one for the winner today. And for mine, I have 2 toggle switches, but I also have another one you sold me that has toggle switches and push buttons. So you kind of you could do both, or you could do just one. I mean, I don't see the need for anything differently because you either need a momentary or something that's always on or always off. I mean, that's what I would think.
Yeah. And then because I've been doing this for like 3 years now with toggle boxes, I have a whole library of designs that range from 1 toggle to 6 toggles,
Right.
5 buttons to 1 button. Every like kind of weird application and preference, I almost have that model standardized. And if I don't, I can always model it for people at pretty much no additional charge.
Awesome. Someone had another question here, which I think is a wonderful question. We'll go over what Aaron asked, but this is really interesting. Can the alarm module, when available, to trigger the alarm to activate another device, like a CD player?
I'm not exactly following. I mean,
I think I
no,
understand what
because
he's asking. He's
okay,
asking if
you
we
explain
can.
it.
I think he's asking, can we trigger like a music player or like an alarm clock or something else with it that has a line in of some sort. I'm assuming. I would assume no. Your box doesn't have
No.
any type of output of the sound, right? It's just a speaker
Yeah,
internal, right? But that's an
yeah,
interesting
exactly.
question for sure. Um,
Cool idea.
Howard asked, "Do you keep a legend next to your box?" So Howard, I actually bought and Harry probably would recommend this too. I bought a Dymo labeler, and I just
Yeah,
labeled the switches. Um,
yeah,
so just buy a Dymo labeler, or he's got a brother one, and just put it on, for each one.
and I can
So
even do that for you.
yeah,
If you say what button you want, like with which label, I can put that on for you at no problem.
awesome. Ron, I don't know when they're going to be for sale. I'm assuming Harry still has some testing to do, and he'll let us know when they're going to be available. Um, is it for alarms only? No, Coral Lover. You can program this thing to do just about anything, which we're going to go over here in a bit. I'm just kind of getting through some preliminary questions here. Can the toggle box work with GHL?
So I really want to get a GHL controller for that reason. And in theory, yes, it has inputs that I could design a toggle box for, but I don't have the funds to buy the GHL
Neither
controller
do I.
just to design it. Yeah, it's too much for me at the moment. But in the future, yes, that you should be able to make one of these button boxes work with GHL. It's just I don't have one in hand to make it a nice plug and play system yet.
hmm Yeah, I get a lot of people asking me about GHL. I have used GHL. I've seen it. I have programmed it.
Hmm.
I think it's a little bit too advanced for a lot of people that are on our stream, especially for people that if you're having trouble just using your Apex in general, GHL is just gonna kill you. You need to know logic. You need to know logic gates. You need to understand how programming works. Um, I'm not going to spend $1,000 and put something in my house just to, let's say, appease the masses.
Explain it. Yeah.
If someone was to let me borrow one and do a video on it, or if someone was to allow me to log into their GHL and do a video on it, then I can see doing that. But I'm not going to go buy. I mean, I have a full, my Apex is probably worth $10,000 alone. I'm not going to just go put a
Yeah.
$1,000 GHL just to show it off to one or two people. But you never know. We'll see as time goes on.
Yeah.
So Antonio from Vivid Creative has a question. Any plans to make your light color available for remote lights? It would be cool to be able to place small LEDs. I think I understand what he's asking. External
Like
LEDs.
IFTT.
Yeah, like can you plug a light bulb into it? I think it is basically what he's saying in a simpler term.
I wasn't sure if he was asking that or if he wants some sort of Wi-Fi IFTT integration. So you could use those common Philips bulbs. So if it receives this voltage, then,
I
I
don't
couldn't tell. But
no, I don't think he's asking that because he's asking to place small LEDs on a specific equipment. So he's physically asking if you can plug in LEDs to it. Um, but yeah, IFT, your device has absolutely no Bluetooth or no Wi-Fi. It's strictly a hardwired device. So I don't see how you could do
yeah,
that, unless
yeah.
Neptune opened up something that I don't know about.
But in terms of that, I don't know where I put it. I do. I can't find it. So right now I'm using these for there are these 8 individually addressable LED sticks that are in the box. This is RGB, so different colors, and you can do etc. I could potentially make more ports to connect things like this because this stick also comes in long strands. So for example, you could have your entire cabinet lighting turning these colors
Oh, that's
when there's a
awesome.
problem. So
So
that would be cool for
that
sure.
kind of answers Antonio's question. I think that's exactly what he'd like to do. So that would be
Yeah, let me
awesome.
see. And I already am prototyping that. I have spools of just like this style, where it's
Yeah, the tape
spools of
lights. Hmm.
yeah, but they're special. They're individually addressable.
That's
So
insane.
normally when people see these and they turn all red or
Right.
all green, but with these you can go back and forth, Terminator style with red. You can flash. You can do any combination of colors.
That's really
So
cool, man.
but they would need a larger power supply than what I'm currently using. But
Okay.
the programming is there, and the 0 to 10 volt input to start those longer strips. That's in the
I
works, and I
see.
think people will really like that.
That's going to
They
be
could
really
even use
cool.
it.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
could even use their 24-volt port to power this if I design it for that, which would be
That
nice.
would be great. Desert Reef Aquatics is being a jackass. So everybody that's on here, make sure that you make fun of him because he's a jackass. Anyway, can you explain the main pros for the toggle box? So I think that was one thing a lot of people are asking, which we're going to get into now. So for those that don't know what the toggle box is, Harry, can you explain some uses for it and why would someone get it? Let's put it that way, because I love having mine.
Yeah, and I think just people don't understand how much it changes your experience with the tank until you have it.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
right now, every single Apex user, when they want to do anything with their tank, they need to take out their phone, even though their hands might be salty and covered in mysis, and open the Apex app, or they could even use the Siri integration or things like that. But for now, for example, in my tank, I don't know how well you can see that. I have a little toggle box here that if I want to do a water change, all I do is I lift up this switch and now my return pump just shut off my skimmer shut off, my power heads are off, and I do my water change. And
Right.
as soon as I'm done, I can push it down and everything will resume. Or if I want my radions to go to actinic blue lighting, I can press, they're unplugged right now for the video because they ruined the webcam, but I can press the lower button here and and it'll go blue. Even if they're normally off, I'll get blue lighting for 10 to 15 minutes to show people. And my upper button, so every time I want to feed, I just press the button, things go off for 10 minutes, and then it'll resume automatically.
Right.
So even on this side, I love my buttons. So this is my stand lights. I press it, and all my stand lights are on. I press it again, and they're off. And it's just, the convenience is just right there. No more
Right.
doing your phone just for basic Apex control. Sorry if I'm giving people a headache with moving the camera
It's
so
okay.
much, but
Don't worry,
don't have
Desert
a
Reef
try.
Aquatics is giving us all a headache, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay, so Milton English had a wonderful question, and I'm gonna answer this one. He's asking, is there a danger of not switching back the switch? So that's a really good question because I have my toggle boxes on maintenance modes, kind of similar to yours. I have mine on very specific items. Now, if Milton, if you're doing a water change, the assumption is you are going to need to put your pump back on to see what's going on. So I don't foresee you leaving it on. That's just my opinion. But you can program
Yep.
things after an hour to say, who cares what the toggle box just said? So if the toggle box enables something, you can have a defer
Your
statement.
camera. Your
What?
camera's going to go out.
Oh, son of a bitch.
And so, yeah, to elaborate on Milton's question, you can use the min time statement because you have a virtual outlet called water change that's doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make it so it's impossible for that outlet, no matter what the toggle box says, to go back to off position after a certain amount of time.
Right,
So, for
exactly.
example, using a min time command, you can say, even if you're in water change mode, if it's been more than 30 minutes, cancel the water change mode. Something's wrong, and you'll be all set. But there's really no risk if you program it like that to having something you forget it in the off position.
So I hope that answers your question, Milton. But just know that these boxes and the buttons are custom programmed. So it's not like you plug them in. I think a lot of people get this confused. It's not like you plug it in and boom, it does something. It's not made by Neptune. It's not a Neptune device. This is something that's custom made by Harry, and you have to program it. And what's nice is when you buy them, Harry puts inside the box a manual of different options that you can do with each different box or different switch or button. So he gives you kind of a starting point. Milton, obviously, me and Harry and a number of other people on the stream are really crazy lunatics.
Yeah.
So we program all kinds of crazy stuff. But just to get started, he gives you kind of a getting started page, which for most people would be a feed mode. It would be a maintenance mode. It would be something very simple that when you go to your fish tank, you just want to, boom. You don't want to pull out your phone. You don't want to pull out an iPad. The display that Apex gives you, which a lot of people don't have anymore, is very cumbersome to get things going. So this alleviates all of that. So
Yeah.
Philly asked, it's only a trigger, right? So it's not really a trigger. If you're familiar with open and close or contact closures, and Harry, interrupt me if I'm mistaken, you use contact closures. So all you're doing is taking a button that's basically saying, "Hey, I'm enabled," and then a button that says I'm disabled, right? That's basically all you're doing, right?
Yeah, so there's two types of buttons basically. There's latching and momentary.
Okay.
So the momentary buttons, which are the little silver ones on the toggle boxes, normally there's no connection, and the apex reads the switch as open. But when you press it for about a second, the apex recognizes that it closed, and then you can let go. It'll go back to open. But because the apex recognized it as closed for a minute, it will start that timed program. And then the other type are these latching switches, which I'm using those toggles, the big chunky ones that look like you're going to launch a nuclear missile. And so for those, they're also normally open.
Okay.
So even if you unplug the toggle box, nothing will happen to your coding.
Right.
But when you switch it up, it stays in the closed position until you hit it again.
Okay. So a couple people have some interesting comments and questions. And I think I know the answer to most of these, but 6 toggle boxes, or sorry, 6 switches per box is the max you could technically do. Am I mistaken in that assumption?
You are right. There are some people who have done these very strange type of combinations of those switches. So, for example, if you hold these 2 switches, you can start a different program, but it's much harder to do. So usually, yes, 6 switches, 6 programs. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't think this will work based on what you're telling me, but John is saying, could you add switches to the box after the fact? And I don't think you could, because you can still only have up to 6, right?
So I have a weird... So yes, because you can only have 6 switches per I/O port on the Apex. Potentially, you can connect 2 identical toggle boxes to one I/O port. But then I have this little thing that I make upon request. For example, if you want one toggle box in your fish room and another next to your display, you can run both of those off of one I/O port. But they have to have the same function.
I see.
Because it's still only 6 switches on the port.
Right. So Neil, I answered your question in the chat, but the I/O port is on a PM1, a PM2, I think a PM3 also has it. The Apex Brain, all Apexes have it. The Apex EL and the main Apex has an I/O. It looks like, if anyone remembers S-Video back in the days, this might be before your time, Harry, but it looks like an S-Video plug. It looks, it's the best way to explain. Maybe you can show them, Harry.
Yeah, I have a whole box full. Let me just grab one. Oh, that box is empty. Okay, so the one I use is black, but here's a gray as an example. It's called a Mini DIN 8 port.
Okay.
So it has 8 connections in there, although the Apex only utilizes 7 of them.
I see. So John, I think might have mistaken his question. If I want a box that has 3 toggle switches and 3 inputs for a door and floats, I see what he's asking.
Yep, I can do that.
Okay. Yep, I kind of figured.
So if you look on my Instagram, I call that my hybrid toggle box, which has 3 switches and then 3 inputs for whatever you want.
Oh, that's
I don't
great.
have one here to show you because I make those custom upon request. But then I have a nice labeled housing for this terminals that it shows you ground and then switch 1, switch 2, switch 3. So you can connect your float switches. And then on your toggle box is switch 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
So that's exactly what mine is currently. The one I showed you on my tank has 3 switches, 3 buttons, and then it also has one of these terminals inside the stand, which is how I do that automatic tank lighting, a float switch, and I think there's a magnetic switch on one of the containers.
So I can see, maybe people will agree with me. I can see a use case for a box where it has an output to an LED strip or to a, where someone can plug in the V1 into your device and then control lights off of it somehow. You know what I mean? Because a lot of
Yeah.
people, here's the thing, a lot of people that are do-it-yourselfers want to buy an LED light, or they want to buy LED lights for their stand, or they want to buy, and they want to just go to Home Depot and grab some lights and add it to their aquarium without having to go get an EB8, you know. I can see that being a good use, you know, just to power some low voltage lighting out of something that you made, you know. That'd be cool.
So, so I agree. The only thing that would be hard about that is there are dozens of types of LED strips and types of connectors.
Oh yeah.
So if I was to make a 0 to 10 volt with the large spool LEDs,
Hmm.
the long strips, I would probably need to include it, pre-soldered with a connector where you can just do it yourself, because otherwise it would be hard for the end user to, they would just need to order the correct one, solder on the connectors, crimp it, versus it's easier for me just to do that and guarantee that it works,
Yeah.
because I can't design for every type of LED strip in the market.
That's right.
That'd be
Well, this
a
is why we're
challenge.
gonna we're gonna get your business going, and you're gonna sell 70 different ones. Let's see. So with this box, I have a. Okay, so Bob, do you happen to have the P-ump mount that you can show someone? Do you happen to have one of those?
Uh, V1 or V2?
I guess it doesn't matter. Whatever you got in front of you. They look really similar. I know that.
So the V2 mount is just like this little hoop that fits around it and holds an optical sensor here.
Hmm.
So you can get a text that that there's water in your reservoir
Right.
before you're fully out. And then, although I don't have one, I sold out of the V1 mounts. I'm making more currently, but the V1 also serves as a stand, because the original Apex pump did not actually stand up. It would just
Right.
fall over. And a lot of people didn't like that, which is almost what started my 3D printing business. I sold like over 500 of them,
Oh yeah.
of those stands that keep it upright and hold a float switch or optical sensor, and people really liked them.
So, Doug, I'm assuming this is Doug Willie because I recognize it. Um, with this box, can I get rid of the Avast breakout box? I'm assuming yes. Yours is just a box with buttons, whereas the Avast is not. Is that correct?
Right. So
Okay.
there's two ways you can go about that. So yes, you could unplug your Avast breakout box and just plug in one of my toggle boxes. Or if you have a few float switches already on that box,
The hybrid.
I can make right. I can make you not even that. I can make you a toggle box that ends in bare wire, so you can plug it right into your Avast box, and it would be less expensive because I don't need to use all the specialty connectors, etc. So it
Awesome.
could go right into your Avast box, which is what a couple people do if they already have the Apex or Avast box.
Yeah.
It's a
So,
better investment.
so what I'm going to say, and a lot of these questions are kind of the same thing that you're getting.
Mhm.
Harry pretty much will make you anything. You just have to contact him, ask him, and he doesn't have like he doesn't just build one specific thing. I mean, if you give him a custom order, I'm sure Harry can do it. For all these people that are asking for custom stuff here, I'm asking some of the ones that I can see being important and really neat. But I'm pretty sure if you contacted Harry, via Instagram, and I'll put that in the link or in the description, and his website, and he's on Facebook all the time with us on our group. Just ask him, hey, can you make this? And he'll tell you right up, yes or no. I'm sure he
Yeah.
can make most of it. This is a good one. I really like this question. Can the toggle switches be lit up?
So yes, they can, and I've done that for I. If you look at my Instagram, Harry's Aquatics,
Hmm.
there are a bunch of examples of lit up toggle boxes, but because of the pinout of how the toggle switches work, I need to add a relay every single lit up item, which makes my work much harder, and the price reflects that, because I need to add all these additional components,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want any power going back to your breakout box or,
Right.
the Apex IO port and damaging it.
Right.
That's my nightmare. I make something custom and a bad outcome happens.
Right.
So I have to be really careful to isolate the power from the Apex. So yes, I can do lit up switches, but there is a premium compared to my standard version.
And do you power that via like a transformer or something? Like, do you just supply a transformer to power those?
I can do it with a variety of means, because this is pretty much all custom. If you want it powered off your 24-volt port, great. I'll make it so it goes on your 24-volt
I
port.
see.
If you want a transformer, I can do. If it's a single toggle, there might even be other solutions that I won't say now, but we'll talk.
Let's see.
But
Do you
so
have
yeah.
trying to look at some more of these questions. Reefing Robbie asked, "What's the largest box you have ever made?" Now, I think it's 6 switches, but you tell me.
Oh no, no, no. I mean, it's crazy. This awesome. Let me see if I have a photo of this. I don't know how well this will come across,
Oh
but
wow.
it had a ton. It had an emergency e-stop. And those all lit up. All the toggle switches lit up
That's
whenever the switch
awesome.
was triggered. And that was as I said, a custom order from his Instagram is Pet Malu Life, and that
Yeah,
was a really
he's
fun one to
he's on
make.
he's on our stream actually.
Oh, he's here?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
he's
was so
here.
much fun to make. He knew exactly what he wanted. He sent me a drawing that showed where every single toggle would be. He
Oh
had all the
wow.
specs, what switches he want. So it was just a pleasure to work with him. And, because making my standard model, I do this all at my desk, sitting here soldering, and it gets tedious.
Oh yeah.
But the custom ones are really fun too.
Welcome to the life of a programmer. I do the same thing all day long, programming the same thing over and over again. How many times I've programmed a Samsung TV, I can tell you it's pretty ridiculous. Oh, Pat Malo just said that's mine. Yep, sure is. Coral Lover asked how long the cable is. I'm pretty sure that's custom, right? You can make. Is there a specific maximum length on these? Not really, right?
So I typically offer it to 10 feet from 10. And in theory, you should be able to just get an extender if you wanted more than that. They exist, male to female
Mm-hmm.
MDNA extenders. I even, for a specific use case, there was an installer doing a huge setup. I even made one that was based off RJ45 and had like a 30-foot run.
Oh wow.
Just like for people who don't know what that is, the cable that your Ethernet works
Right.
uses.
Mm-hmm.
That the plastic clip could pull the wire through the
Yeah.
wall and
I
then
don't
add
think
the
I have one
connector.
sitting around. No, I don't have one sitting around.
Yeah, but there was no issue with 30 feet. So eventually you would hit an issue with voltage drop and maybe it wouldn't recognize it. But so far I haven't had an issue with the cable length.
Okay. Yeah, Lucas had an interesting question. Have you ever thought of using computer power transformers to get rid of all the power adapters? So I think
I'm
I
not sure what
understand.
you mean.
I think I understand what he's asking. Computers have those big power supplies, and you can power a ton of stuff off of it. I think that's what he's saying. There will have to be inline to get the right voltage to the equipment. Yeah, Lucas, I'm trying to understand, but I think I understand.
I think I know what he means, and I've actually heard something that was doing that, although I don't know if it's public. But so I
Nothing
think I
public.
think what he wants is, instead of having 50 bricks in your stand,
Mhm.
For 12 volts, 24 volts, for your radions, for your vortex, for your pumps, to have one central high quality power supply, and then it would plug into all the different pumps and
Right.
devices you have. But, you know, I know my skill set, and I would not want to mess with any high power supplies as somebody doing this in my bedroom. The risk of fire, the risk of, it would need to be licensed and things like that.
Mhm.
So
Well,
definitely not something that I could do.
there's an issue there, and Lucas brought up a good point, but you got to consider all these different products out there have different voltages. I've seen ones with 8 volts. I've seen ones with 13 volts. I've seen one with, really odd voltage. You would have to have a device that's able to turn down or turn up voltage per output. And then you got to worry about amperage.
Yeah.
So what if you have a device that requires 3 amps? What if you have a device that requires 0.5 amps? It would be really tough. Now, yes, I think
Yeah. And so many
Ecotech,
adapters.
yeah, I think Ecotech could make something, because if everyone knows out there, pretty much all of their product, with the exception of I think their largest Vectra, has the same exact power supply. They are all identical. I think the Versa is
I don't
different
know.
too. Yeah, it is. All their
And the battery
MP40s,
backup.
the battery backup is different, but the pumps and the Vortex have the same power supply, but the Radeon doesn't.
Oh, I didn't know
The
that.
Radeon has this gigantic ridiculousness, which they've switched over the
Now it's
years.
now it's also worth mentioning on this topic CoralView, because their wave engine is, and that you can connect like 4 different types of power heads or return pumps all to one box using one power supply.
Hmm.
So that's kind of a step in the direction we're looking for, with
Yeah.
minimizing clutter and centralized
Well, that's
control and
basically what
power.
Apex did with their one link. That's they're getting rid
Yeah.
of power supplies. That's basically what they're doing. Um, and a decent, I say decent. All your questions are great, guys. But Stuart has asked twice about USB Apex balance. Now, they have USB to Ethernet balance on Amazon. You can buy, they're all over the place. So I think that's what he's asking. Um, he was also asking earlier about a Wi-Fi USB balun. Now, if you guys watched my yeah, if you guys watched my stream last week, me and Terrence actually talked about wireless USB in detail, and I don't think it's a good idea at all. So it's much more. I know people out there can't run wires in their attic. I know there's people out there that can't go in their crawl space and run wires. I know people are in climates where they can't do certain things. Hardwiring is going to be your best bet. Otherwise, get another unit. Like that's going to be my recommendation every time. Um,
Yeah, and just on USB, nothing powered meant for USB that you can buy should be used with Apex. Apex, their Aquabox is 12 volts.
right.
The normally devices are 5 volts. You'll burn up your phone, your whatever has a power source,
Right.
your little computer fans, and you're not supposed to be drawing power from there anyway, because it's, their proprietary communication. You don't want to mess up things.
Hmm. Another good question here. Can your ambient temperature humidity monitors connect to Apex to provide tank temperature or I'm assuming never on alkalinity, but tank temperature. Let's say tank temperature.
So I know which ones they're talking about on my site, and those, no, they're just for informational purposes. If you want to interface like any sort of data or third-party sensor with the Apex, you would need their AS, and then you would, one second, I have an example here. Then you would need to find an appropriate humidity sensor that outputs 0 to 5 volts to be used with the ASM. So here I have a little. It looks just like a white square,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a Siemens humidity sensor that it normally, I was doing some changes,
Mm-hmm.
but normally this would connect to my Apex using the ASM module and provide humidity on the display.
Right.
And you can even program using that data to turn on fans, if you have it in your cabinet, etc.
Well, Terrence kind of made a boo-boo last week. I don't know if you guys noticed, but he did mention that they are going to be making Apex devices. I don't know what for terrariums and pools and other. He slipped because he said something. I heard it, and I don't know if anyone
Oh
else
yeah.
heard it. But he said I think someone asked about humidity or something, and he goes, "Oh yeah, that we got that already," or something. He said something to that nature, and I'm like, "No, you don't." I didn't say anything though. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident. And again, guys, I don't work for Neptune. I know I wear a Neptune shirt, but I don't know what they're doing over there. But I have a feeling you're going to start to see Apex for pools, for, like I said, like I have frogs, like terrariums. I can see that being huge. And apologize to people that ask this question, but I get this really dumb question sometimes, which is, can an Apex work with a freshwater fish tank? So, of course it can. Like I don't see the difference. Apex is measuring the same thing, no matter if it has salt in it or not. But but one guy asked Terrence one time, "Hey, you guys should make a freshwater kit." And I'm like, "You mean the Apex
That's
EL?"
their. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I have a feeling they're gonna be making some. If anyone out there has terrariums, I think they're gonna be making some terrarium stuff coming, which will be really
Yeah.
cool.
And now they just have a strict policy of, they're not going to say one word about it,
No.
because people were so mad about the Trident delays when it was first announced, and
Right.
how there was a delay and it took a couple extra months, and people were seething in forums and Facebook groups.
Yep.
Oh my God, how dare they postpone a release date?
But I assure everyone
So
that's watching, um, if they allow me to show off any new product, I will show it off and make a video. But as far as I am concerned, I don't know of anything new coming out. So, um, Desert Reef Aquatics, we're gonna have a chat after this. You better not come to my house, but we're gonna have a chat. I ran a lot of stuff in my own attic, buddy. It wasn't just you. How many times that you've been here, I have had to fix stuff that you ran too, buddy. Anyway,
that's funny.
a lot of people are asking some, wiring questions. So, someone had asked, and I think you had already answered the question, but I'm going to ask you, and you're unlike Neptune, but do you have anything coming down the plate that you can show us that you wish to inform us of that you were working on? And if not, that's fine too. You could be like Neptune.
So no, I don't, speaking to trying to be like Neptune in that way, because I'm so small and I don't really have any need for secrecy or hiding what I'm working on. You'll frequently see me posting on Facebook groups or Instagram. Oh, this is cool. I have a little TDS sensor for Apex. So that I can tell you exactly. Currently, I have, I think it's 200 non-contact liquid sensors that I'll explain to you what that is in a second, but that I want to integrate into the I/O port. So a non-contact liquid sensor means it does not need to be submersed in liquid or touch it at all. Normally it uses the conductance of water, or maybe I'm using the wrong word. So you could put it on the outside of PVC. You could put it on the outside of, you can put it anywhere, and it'll read open, if there's water in there. And I think people will really like that, because instead of needing to drill a hole for an optical sensor or a float switch.
Right.
It's non-contact for your reservoirs. People who have big reservoirs, you stick it to the outside, and
really
it'll
cool.
notify you when it hits that. Yeah, and I think it's like it works with over half-inch thickness.
Wow.
It can detect the liquid through that, so it's very cool. It's a simple sensor, and I just need to design a new PCB, a little control board.
Mm-hmm.
But it won't need any sort of microcontroller. It'll just be open or closed. It's going to need power. So it'll, whether it's USB power or 24 volt, but I think non-contact liquid sensors would be really useful for hobbyists in general.
Yeah, that's really cool. That I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, I can send you a link after. And they're inexpensive sensors.
I mean,
They're
TDS
used with RVs a lot of it.
Yeah, TDS is a big thing. I mean, I go after Terrence all the time. Every one of his streams. If you guys ever are on his streams, I bombard him with TDS meters. I'm like, you guys need to make TDS meters hook up to Apex. It drives me crazy that there's no way for me to know when I need to switch out my canisters. It's just a simple thing that they could make. I know they can. They could plug it in the FMM and just say, hey, when it's above 0, alert me, and when it's below 0, it's fine. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, TDS would be awesome. Even a simple. I think I even posted a fake TDS module, like that I photoshopped onto the Neptune group at one point. I know it was called like the RODI module, and it could take 3 TDS meters and 2 solenoids for the 24 volt, those little accessory ports.
Yeah.
I posted it, joked in the group, and everybody went crazy. They thought it was real. It was very funny. But I think TDS, I'll send you a screenshot.
And I
later,
wonder, and now we wonder
really
why the engineers at Neptune just love you to death. All right, let's see.
Yeah.
There goes my camera again. Let me turn it back. There we go. Okay. So, let's see. Can I remake the TS mod he posted? Yeah, make it for us, Harry. Just tell Neptune you're making. Make it in orange and gray also.
That stuff, their communication and all the, I'm just, I'm graduating college, so I haven't had the formal, like, the real life training to make more advanced boards and using more advanced programs. Everything, it feels like everything they teach at college is using software that was outdated ago. You can't even use like Windows 10 for most of the software. You have to go and like run. You have to run a virtual machine with an older version of Windows to use the programs that they want you to.
Oh,
so it's
gotta suck.
So a lot of this, yeah. So, but that's I couldn't, and I don't, and of course I wouldn't be able to, both in the legal and I can't just like take their everything, their communication, their branding.
Well, when I went to college, this was in 2000. We had to bring books around everywhere. So I'm sure there's some people in the stream that are older and my age, but just imagine being in college. I went to ASU, Arizona State, and Arizona State's huge. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but it's big. Imagine having to walk from one side of the campus to the other with 5 books that are literally this big. Like, I remember just dying in 110 degree weather during the fall here, moving those books around. So, for your software not to work, I don't feel bad at all.
Yeah, that's true. It's first world problems. I have to run a virtual machine. Oh God, it doesn't really matter.
Desert Reef's on a roll today, man. He says I'm a dinosaur. Earlier, he said that I didn't run any of my cables. Basically, he's trying to make it so that I don't know anything, even though what he doesn't want to tell people is that I've taught him everything. He just doesn't want to tell people that.
Well, has the student become the teacher now? You were a little too good.
He will never become the teacher ever. Let's see.
Poor guy.
That's right, Anthony. We used I remember 5.25 floppy disks. John Graves, how soon will the non-contract sensors be available? There's a lot of stuff that Harry's working on that he has to get.
Yeah.
He has to test it. He's got to do like any other company, they got to do beta testing. They got to check things. I'm assuming you don't have any dates for any of the stuff that we've kind of talked about.
No, especially with COVID.
Right.
Even to get in like a batch of sensors can take like over a month, even if you use like a better shipping option, because there's so few flights going out. And then so that one is a total. That's what I said. I'm not secretive about what I'm doing, but I'm not going to say any date. I have it running on like a prototype board, that uses just a bunch of these tiny wires. But, then I need to move it into one of these PCBs to make it smaller and stuff like that.
Right.
So no idea.
So I don't know if you can discuss this, but I have one of your LED units that you sent to me to test, and I don't remember if I paid for it now. I can't remember. I think you gave me one for testing. I can't remember. So
yeah, the beta ones I just sent out.
Yeah, so just so you guys know, I didn't have to pay for that. I like being honest with you people, and it works great. I love it. But my question to you, and we had discussed this before, is and again, you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but do you foresee that being sold? And do you have a price on it? I've had people ask me all the time.
So I've run into two concerns with the product as a whole. It is my first one that really has active electronics inside. Normally I'm using the switches or 3D printing, but in this, I don't know if I have it here, the LED box. Oh yeah, here's one. But in this version, I'm using, a whole microcontroller that uses the strips, and I need a power supply. And my concern with that is, there's rules. Having, it's not as simple. That's a big concern. It's not as simple as selling a 3D printed bracket. With active electronics, especially near water, there's so many rules regarding, how it needs to be sealed, and the power supply, it needs to be an approved one. And so I have a lot of concerns on that front that I'm researching with the help of a few friends of mine. But, even the radio frequency, does it have any, does it cause congestion or issues like that, which I don't think it shouldn't. It's a basic off-the-shelf component,
right?
But the license need it is going to be challenging. But if I don't, one option I was looking at was marketing it as like a DIY kit, where, just like there are many kits to do anything online especially with these little Arduino microcontrollers,
right?
Where you put it together yourself, it's pre-programmed, and then it works. And then, but then the question is, if I provide the power supply and then let's say it has an issue down the road, whether it's the power supply, God forbid it like melts or causes a fire, I don't have the insurance, or,
right.
I'm an LLC, I'm a limited liability corporation right now. So, I don't have the assets I don't want to provide a product that could do that either.
Right.
If you're unlicensed in your house, that's not good.
Could you sell the box without the power supply and have the customer get their own power supply, and therefore they would be held liable? Would that?
Those are the little things that I'm just not experienced enough to know. Okay. So yes, although I can get the power supplies for closer to $5, you
Hmm.
could buy one on Amazon for, let's say, $8. And then I guess the liability of the power supply is on wherever you bought it from and not me. But, there's all these questions that, I don't even know of like how many things I need to be looking at.
Right.
I've like, this is my first type of product like this. So for the beta testers, I tell them, just so you know, this is a prototype product. It may stop working. You need to keep an eye on it. This is totally up to you whether you want to use it.
Right.
But my end goal price point was under 100. Under a typical module, and I might be able to get well under that at quantity.
Okay.
I just don't know my liability and whether I can introduce this to market
I see.
in reality.
So for those out there, I asked this question on purpose because a lot of people want one. A lot of people want one. I have one. Like I said, I got to test it luckily, and I was very happy to be able to test it for you. But Harry isn't he's still in college, so he doesn't have a manufacturing plant. He doesn't have 50 employees, So for those that want one of these or they want his products, give him time. He's still in college. Once he gets out of college, maybe he'll start a company up and make some really cool stuff for us. But for those that are asking for it, unfortunately, I don't foresee him releasing it for some time. So that's why I wanted to ask you that, because a lot of people want one.
And then also another approach that I talked to with my brother-in-law, who's an engineer, he works with a lighting company. He does a lot of prototyping stuff like that. Is he said, well, you can do an extended beta test. You can start sending it to them with the disclaimer that it is a prototype product. There's no, any risk is on themselves.
Right.
But I don't want to do that either, because it sounds terrible to say, oh, if something wrong happens, you're so out of luck.
Right.
I don't know what I'm going to do in the end. It would be great if I'm working with Adaptive Reef, Kyle Elder at
Nice.
Adaptive, actually toggle boxes and a whole bunch of other accessories into major retailers like both
awesome.
Reef Supply, Marine Depot, and those places. And so I'm going to see if I'm going to send him, once I finish up this LED indicator box prototype. He has much more experience with releasing products.
Right.
So I'll see if he would like to add that to the lineup.
That'd be great. Yeah, someone had asked earlier about, you mass producing these to the big retailers. Yeah, I mean, I can see these toggle boxes being huge. I mean, really.
If you go to Adaptive Reef Instagram, he even, I think, has the first photo of just lines and lines of toggle boxes.
Oh, nice.
Orders go out in the hundreds to retailers. So it's pretty cool to see something I kind of developed be refined and marketed to larger places that I just couldn't reach with my small scale bedroom production.
Small scale bedroom production. All right, guys. So we're gonna finish up here. We're at about an hour. Harry's got to get back to his busy life in college. Super busy guy over here, with his one class. But anyway, we got 41 people.
Two this summer.
We got 41 people in the contest today, so that's awesome to see. And we are giving away a custom box. So whoever wins, just give me a PM on Facebook, and I'll get you in contact with Harry, and he'll make you something really cool and custom. And when you get it, please let us know so we can see what you did. I'd be interested to see.
And I have all sorts, ranging from 6 toggle monstrosities if you just want latching programs, to mini ones, to the hybrid version. Whatever you guys want, I got you. I'll make you one.
Sweet. Ravi, we answered that earlier in the stream, so go ahead and take a look later. Um, yeah, Desert Reef, you have been removed from the contest for your
Ooh,
rudeness, so you're out of it. Okay, so let's pick a winner for today's contest
okay.
for the toggle box. And trust me, you guys are gonna love it. Whoever wins is gonna love it. Um, you
Yeah, you're gonna if they have questions. The rules are I provide
and
instructions,
then
but if
bother
you have any
Derek.
questions, harass Derek. That's a
Yep,
great
that's
approach.
that's
I love it.
oh goodness. Harass me. No, harass Desert Reef because Desert Reef thinks he's a big programmer now. So from now
Ooh,
on, all of the questions that come to me, guys, are going right to Desert Reef. Every single one of
redirect them. You
them.
need to set up a script. Just redirect them on Facebook.
Oh, that'd be great.
Be
All right,
funny.
here we go, guys. And again, the toggle boxes, when you don't have one, you don't realize how great they are when you get one. Oh, I know this guy. I think he's not in the United States, but what can we do? Uh, if he's not in the
I
United
don't know if I can
States,
ship internationally.
well,
Is that a requirement of your giveaway?
the requirement is they have to pay for shipping if they win, and they
Oh,
are
for
not in the United States. So that is the rules. The gentleman's name, and I've spoke to him before, is I don't know how to say his name, unfortunately. I think it's Gear. I think his name is Gear. I'm gonna say Gear.
Let's see if he's in the chat.
So we'll give him about a minute. Hopefully Gear's still here. Hopefully he has an Apex.
Yeah, that's needed.
And for all the people that messaged me and bothered me on Facebook during the stream, I'm coming after you.
Oof.
I'm coming after you. That is what I'm doing. Here he is. So I assume, Gear, you are in. Remember you being. I don't remember where you are from. Germany or something. So wherever you're from, me and Harry will take care of you. But you're gonna have to pay for shipping for it, because that's gonna be exciting. But if need be, Harry can ship it to me, and I'll ship it to you. So we'll get it to you somehow.
Hmm.
Um, but
Sounds good.
thank you so much, Harry, for being on. I know this has been a while since I asked you. I'm trying to get some more people on. Um, oh, he's in Norway. So, we're going to have some interesting people coming up, and I think it's going to be exciting. So, but Harry, give me a few plugs. Where can they get a hold of you? Where can they see stuff if they need to?
Sure. My Instagram is Harry's Aquatics. My site is Harry's Aquatics. And my name on Facebook is just Harry Singer. I'm really active in the Neptune group, sometimes the BRS group if people have Apex related questions.
He's
And
very
yeah, you
active
can
in my
submit a
group too.
contact form. Yeah, oh yeah, Reef Automation.
He's very active
Can't
in
leave
my
you out,
group
that's true.
because I'm just so busy lately. This is the busiest I've ever been in my company. So we got a lot of moderators and we got a lot of good guys like Harry helping out, so I appreciate it. So, all right, guys. Well, it's Saturday. It's nice out. Hopefully, it's nice out here. Hopefully, you guys have a great
Yeah,
Saturday. And Harry, thank you so much again. Peace, everybody.
no problem.